Welcome to Avid versus Premiere Basics. I'm doing things a little different this time. I'm doing a 6-part series that will go over 3 things in Avid I wish were in Premiere and 3 things in Premiere I wish were in Avid. And I call it the wish list. And in this episode, I will explain why I wish data displays were in Premiere and not overlays. So your Avid data displays can be found over your source and sequence monitors. So let's start by creating a sequence. And as you can see, data information automatically pops up into my displays as I created the sequence. And what it's actually showing me is the master time code, which is the sequence time code, and V1 time code, which is the time code of the clip on track 1. So if I go to the drop-down menu by clicking this triangle, I have several options for my time code. The actual master time code, the duration, the in and out, the absolute time code, and the remaining time code. So if you want to show the time code of the source that's in your sequence, you go to your drop-down menu and you select source. Here we only see V1, A1, and A2 because those are the only tracks in a sequence. So say you have several tracks of video or audio. So right now I have several tracks here with only clips on V1 through V6. If I go to my data display, I can see all the tracks in my sequence listed. And it will show me the time code for each track where the cursor is. And that also will happen if I have several tracks of audio. It will show me all of the time codes for each track of audio. Now let's take a look at the source monitor. If I were to put a clip there, a cute dog, I would go to time code, or I could do the frame count, or just put the clip name up there. But you don't really need the clip name on this data display because if you look, there are 2 other data displays, one over the source monitor and one over the sequence monitor. And each will show the name of the clip or sequence that is in that corresponding monitor. And if you click on this little triangle, you will be given the option to either clear your monitor or clear menu of all the items that you have put into your monitor. Or you can just load an item back into your monitor from the drop-down menu instead of going back to your bins. And you can do the same things in your drop-down menu over your sequence monitor. Now the last thing I want to go over with the data displays is the center duration. The center duration will tell you a few things for your source and sequence monitor, whichever one is activated at the time. The in and out duration, the timing from the cursor to the end of the clip or sequence, the timing from the mark in to the end of the sequence, and the timing from the mark out to the beginning of the sequence. And this also applies to additional monitors that you can open. And you would do that by pressing Control-Alt if you're on PC, Control-Command if you're on Mac, and holding those keys down and double-clicking on the clip or sequence that you want to open up in an additional monitor. So let me go here, double-click, and you see this monitor opens. And not only will it open, you would get data display on that additional monitor, and if you look at the center duration, it applies to the monitor that's activated, which is the additional monitor that I opened. Now another thing about the center duration, just by clicking on it, you can toggle back and forth between the time code count and the frame count. In Premiere, we don't have data displays. What we have are overlays. And you can access your overlays with this icon on your sequence monitor and on your source monitor. To access your overlays and overlay settings, you click on the icon and you go all the way down on the menu. I'm just going to turn on the overlays, and as you can see, they're superimposed on the monitors, not above the monitors like they are in Avid. I tend to like the data displays as opposed to the overlays, because overlays tend to distract me from the footage within the monitor. And if you look at the sequence monitor, there's black and white footage there. And when you have black and white footage or footage that's very bright, the overlays can be difficult to read. Now, I'm just going to show you a few things with these overlays. So if we go down to settings, and this is another thing I don't like about overlays. You have to bring up another monitor, another window for your settings. In data displays, you just have drop-down menus. You have 4 groups of settings with 3 drop-down menus each that correspond to the 4 overlay displays on your monitor. And say I want to make a change to the one on the upper left-hand side, which already has source time code chosen. I would just click on this drop-down menu and choose whichever item I would like to display. Here you choose which tracks you want to appear on your overlay. Now when creating a new sequence, you notice the tracks will appear on your overlays. If you delete tracks, the overlays will update. But when you go into your overlay settings, you have the options to show the default tracks, which are all of them, or just one. You can't show, like, say, V1 and A2 or any other combo of the tracks. You can only show all or one. And that's for each of your overlay menus. Down here you have your alignment. So if I pick vertical center, it goes into the center, and this you can choose for all your overlays. These settings apply to all of them. And right here you have your multi-camera sources, where you can select your camera name, time code, and your alignment. Underneath that is your action and title safe areas, where you can manually change your action and title safe areas. And underneath here you have your end of media sequence indicators. So if I was to select that, I would get the slanted line indicator because I'm at the end of my sequence. So if I were to move it, you see the indicator will disappear. We also have the enable overlays for transmit, and what that will allow you to do is to see your overlays on an external monitor and enable overlays during playback. You can also change your text size and the opacity of your overlays. Once you've made all of your adjustments, you can save your settings as presets or import settings that you have, say, from another system, or export them. And to access your presets, you just go down to your menu, and you see where I have this markers and all of that, and you just select from your menu. I hope this video explains why I wish Avid displays were in Premiere. And don't forget, this is just the first part of a 6-part series of 3 things in Avid I wish were in Premiere, and 3 things in Premiere I wish were in Avid. And don't forget to subscribe so you can see all these videos as soon as they're posted.